Hello everyone, welcome back. It has been quite a bit of time. I restarted my laptop and things with school, things go on in life. But I'm back, and in this video, we're going to be talking about subraces. These subraces are things that have a race involved and have subraces included. I won't be going into how to change a race into having a subrace. You can get that information just from watching this video, but we're gonna make a new race, and then we're gonna add some subraces to it that have specific ability score increases and things of that nature. So we have this old quasi-target race here, things that we've covered last time. Um, yeah, and so now I want to create a new race. So I'm gonna go to my work in progress file. This is user. I'm just gonna make a new file. Anywhere, it can be anywhere you want, ideally in your workspace. So new file. I'm gonna call it race dash, and the race we are doing in this episode is called the Candle Folk.xml. Oh, we got that. We're gonna do our usual elements. No info because we're not uploaded online yet. And then we're gonna look into what this race is about. This race I'm going to be linking in the description, and I'm going to be focusing on how all this works. A lot of this is like pretty much the same as a standard race. So we have names, we have kind of folk traits, we have and these subraces. So typically, like in the usual 2014 rules of 5th edition, you have everything details and subrace at the very end, and then it lists out the subraces. So we have, for this kind of folk, we have different waxes, I believe, different subraces. So yeah, red flame, green flame, white flame, blue flame, yellow flame, purple flame, and random height and weight. So that's all pretty said and done. We can see here what we're going to be learning in this video is proficiencies, as each subrace has a proficiency and ability score increase. Also, real quick, I'm just gonna copy paste all of this since it has mostly everything that I need. So I'm just gonna do that and then edit as I need. All right, and with that, we're back. So I kind of coded everything on here, a lot of it copy and paste as you saw in the time lapse that I put in. Yeah, there are a couple of things that as I was like adding this race in that I forgot to mention. There's some challenges in codes depending on the race that you choose to code in. A couple of challenges on you as a code to figure out how to change it and or implement that. For example, label score increase. I didn't read this part. You adapt at what you have learned on your journeys. You may put a +2 on any stat that is not provided by your subrace. So I'm thinking this way. We don't need to keep these stats for the main race. We can just add both of them in, one based on one given to you, and then one based on a choice, which I can show you how to do that. Right, so I fixed that up. Yeah, so a couple of things. A lot of this is just like natural light, GUI state, like all these are text-based things. Nothing to really worry about. The other thing is fluent and common 3 languages of your choice. So I'll show you how to make a select on how to choose. You'll get the common and 3 languages of your choice. That's pretty simple enough. And then after that, we have the subraces. So moving that, I removed the names and nicknames because it's not male and female. So it requires some other special code. I kind of forgot about it at the moment. You can always ask in the Aurora Legacy Discord on how to do that, but otherwise it's like pretty optional. Just name your character what you want, or otherwise, there are ways to add just one line of names. Nicknames, not so sure, but yeah. Other than that, moving down here. So I did mention we're gonna get rid of this. I want to keep this here for later. Yeah, and this as well. This is just for, as we discussed last time, if using Tasha's optional rules of choosing your own ability scores, then this will be useful. But other than that, it is completely optional. The speed is 30, size is an option. So part of coding is figuring out where to grab these IDs from. So I'm gonna look up if there is a small. So ID size small might be an option. Yes, it is internal. This file, internal XML, has all of the sizes, racial traits, like not all racial traits, but some internal things that are needed for the code to work. And this is just an option, not an option, but something that is pretty important to have. So yeah, I'm gonna, since size is a type, we can definitely change this up entirely. So we're just gonna delete this line. I'm gonna type, caps, select type. I'm choosing a type. Yeah, name. This is what the top of the box will be. What it'll be called. Of the options, whatever it's called. So this will be Candle Folk Supports, and then I want to go ID size small. And now this is the important part. In order to have or, you don't have it typically. Well, in some coding languages they have or, like you put or a comma. In this case, we're gonna put this long line. Do that by holding Shift and pressing the backward slash, and I'll do that. So yeah, so I'm gonna do ID size medium. Now this might be wrong. Future me will come back and correct it. But for now, that's what we're gonna be doing. Next is racial traits. Yeah, we're gonna change all of these up to these proper names. So instead of Kazarati, like we did last time, it'll be Candle Folk. I'm gonna delete these ones. We can just copy them later. Underscore, and we have them right here. So if I hit Alt, Shift, and down arrow, I can just create copies and I have them ready to be typed into. So natural, light, GUI, state, weakness to water, and candle eater. Make them now. We can fill them out later for what they actually are. Next to languages. So according to this, you're fluent in Common and 3 languages of your choice. So we're gonna delete this because they don't have under Common, and we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna do a select. Select type language. Man, all right. The name will be languages and then a comma Candle Folk. So you know like where you're getting it from. And then we're gonna do supports. Supports. There's 2 standard supports. It's probably you can add more depending on what languages, the system it is. But since it's not really it doesn't say standard or exotic, we're gonna put both. So standard. And then this. Whoops. Big line. Exotic. And close that. Actually, it says 3 languages. So if you're doing more than one selection, kind of how we had it here for customized race language, you can just put number equals 3. So it gives common and that as well. One thing I want to do as well here, from what I can tell, is we can put this in here as well. That way, if you do want to have optional customized languages and have a total of 4, since this grants common and other, we can just change this to 4, and then you can have 4 languages to choose from without common. Next thing, we're gonna do the subrace. That's the last thing here. Select type. It's very important that subrace is spelled this way: sub, capital S space capital R race. Otherwise, if you have it together, it won't generate, and it won't be able to find what the subrace is. So yeah, anyways, we're gonna name this. It doesn't really say much of what these subraces are called, so we're gonna call them Candle Folk. You can call them flames, or you can call them subraces. For this video, I'll call them subraces. And supports. This is where you create unique support. It's very just simple to put just candle folk, subrace, and done. And you only get one, so that's pretty much it. Really quick, I'm just gonna go and code these traits. I'll come back if I have to let you guys know something. All right, and I'm back. So, yeah, all the virtual traits are done now. The one thing as I was coding it, I'm not sure if I explained it last time. First sheet, if you want to have for players to know that it requires an action to use, and then you need to have action equals action. Really could be any string. Could be like, I don't know, dragon. I don't know. But ideally, action. This could be used for other things, but that's for another time. For probably for classes or things of that nature. We have GUI state, weakness to water. One thing about this race, this is a side topic. When your flame is submerged in water, you take 1d4 cold damage for every second you're remaining there. So technically speaking, if every round is 6 seconds, you take 64 damage every time you're in water. But hey, ask your DM, right? Anyways, and Candle Eater. Yeah, pretty simple stuff. Doesn't require much coding or rules or such. But now it's for Subraces. Something I like to do, I put a space in between where the class is and where all of this is. But yeah, and then I like to do pressing Control question mark creates a comment. I just do that just so I know where my stuff is. But you don't have to do that. Just a space is fine in between. So yeah, going into Subraces. So for this is going to be a simple subrace. I think I can generate it with snippets, elements, subrace. There we go. So a bunch of stuff here. A lot of this is kind of too much, especially for us since our subraces are pretty minimal. So I'm just gonna do this. Delete all of this. Actually, I need some of this. Yeah, I need ability score and racial traits. So I'm just going to do this instead. And I need 2 racial traits. That's pretty much it. You can get other stuff. You can code it how you want to. But for this, according to these subraces, it's not important. Going back to our subrace code, select type subrace for Candle Folk subraces. The supports is Candle Folk subrace. This is what kind of category of subraces we're going to choose from. Because if you leave it empty or just leave it some other thing, you can select like Tiefling, rate subraces, or Dwarf, or so on, which is not ideal for this race at all. So we're going to put Candle Folk subrace, and our first subrace is the red flame. Now, name convention for IDs are pretty much the same. So race, Candle Folk, be subrace, and then red flame. As we do racial traits, we can just change it up a little bit so it's a little easy for us. So yeah, ability score increase. So your strength increases by 2 is what the code says here, or the original source. And then racial traits, we have first one, intimidating personality. And here it says you are proficient in the capital intimidation skill. And the last thing is brutish attitude. And that's what I copy paste. Once a day, follow strength check and choose to roll it. When you do, get +2, and you take whichever rolls higher. So yeah, yeah. So racial traits, We only need just the one technically, because this personality racial traits is something that can be coded in easily as a grant proficiency. So one way we can do this easily is we just put grant proficiency, looking for a skill proficiency, and we can scroll down the options. So, oh, wrong button. Proficiency, skill proficiency, and we're gonna go intimidation, and that's that. For ability scores, as we mentioned before, we're gonna take this piece of code because we want to make it optional for players to swap it out. So put it in here. There you get strength, and this is their choice. So we're instead of doing this, I'm gonna leave this out, and what we'll do is we will make this open to be used. So we're gonna remove this requirement, and that should be fine. Yeah, because at some point down the line, if they want to unlock strength to be used for any skill, then they have both options available. This probably works for the best. And then lastly, we have our racial traits. Yeah, and then I'll delete this as well. Whoops. Yeah, so strength score, efficient intimidation skill, and brutish attitude. The reason why I don't code the racial trait because one, takes up more time, and two, you don't really need this like showing up on your sheet. You can just be proficient in intimidation. Like there's not much else to it than that. And strength score +2. Yeah. So now we just code this. What I have to do for racial traits, I keep the source there. And then at this point, I just shorten it. I know it's a subrace. I know it's candle folk. I want to call it red flame. I want to call it brutish attitude. Cool. And then from there, I'm gonna make a new racial traits. So I can just do elements racial traits. Put it in here. Delete this. Call it brutish attitude. Delete this. Let's copy this. Done. Optionally, you could do this as well, and make sure that people know that it's only available one per day. So you put one per day, one per rest, one per long rest, or even just put like long rest. And yeah, that's pretty much that. We'll get back to you when we do the white flame. All right, and I'm back. So I just want to stop here at white flame. I could have done the rest. Is I noticed in I need to change this. Oops, this is called nurse. All right. Anyways, the reason why I stopped because this ability has something we can add to the sheet. So saves from death. Once a day, if you use a medicine check on a downed or injured ally, you may offer a 1d6 plus your constitution mod of your own hit points instead of a 1d20 from the skill check. This will heal the ally for the amount given and remove any extra ailments other than diseases from said ally. Pretty strong. But the main thing I'm looking at is having your constitution modifier displayed on your sheets. So to do this, it's pretty simple. There's two ways we can do this. We can create a new stat, which I can show, or we can just reference it. So here, rules, and we're gonna do a stat. We're gonna make a new stat. We'll call it. We're gonna call it Candlefolk saved from death. I put colon. This practice we do at the Aurora Legacy Discord, but you do what you want, right? And with the value is our constitution modifier. So whatever your constitution modifier is, if it's 10, it'll be a +0. If it's 20, it'll be a +5, and that will be how it can use. So we can reference this stat directly here. So instead of having more words like your constitution modifier, we can just change that, and using these brackets in the middle of these, we can put the name of our stat. So candle folk saved from death. So that will appear as a value +0. It will probably be 0 or 5 or whatever your constitution score is. We'll test this when we get the file complete. Or the most simplest way is just putting your constitution modifier. So I'm going to do that instead. Now, the reason why I recommend doing this sometimes is, let's say you have a stat that scales off. Let's say for disability, instead of just your constitution modifier, it also adds your level as well. So if I can copy paste this and you add your level, so let's say you're like level 1, then these two values will add together. So because there's no other what we call in the Discord bonus, like base, and we do bonus base, different things, right? So candle focus from dab, constitution modifier, and level. So without these bonus equals base, this basically tells it that we're gonna add these together. Aurora doesn't really do multiplication; it does a lot of addition. So yeah, just note of that. This bonus equals base, what it does is it compares these values of these stats. So candle focus from death. Let's say your con modifier is +3, but your level is like 1, right? So what Aurora does, when it has both of these bases, it'll look at and compare which is higher. It'll take the higher value. This is code probably used in finesse weapons. So like if your strength is higher, it'll use strength, or your dex is higher, it'll use dex. A lot of features are like that. Whichever is higher, it'll pick. In this case, we don't need this since we already are referencing our constitution modifier. And we'll see on the sheets, I'll probably display it here, that it shows properly. So yeah, I'll finish the rest. I'll call you back when we have anything new. I see Blue Flame has the same thing as this, but originally it's just intelligence modifier. So yeah, I'll be back. All right, I am back again. So I did Blue Flame, and Yellow Flame is interesting. It is, oh, I made a mistake here. That's fine. Yeah. So the interesting thing about this subrace, it's saying that when you choose a subspecies, you may choose the resistance of an elemental type. That's pretty neat, pretty cool. But you can't choose resistance to cold. So yeah, rubbing my head on this one. But the main thing is, this feature here, when you choose it, like you don't need this on your page at all. Like the only thing you need is to have the ability to select a resistance. So I want to change this to display equals false. You can still have it here if you want, but it'll basically hide this feature from the sheet. Now the main thing why we need to keep this is we're going to add some rules. We're going to select type racial traits, and we're going to put durable wax. We'll put yellow flame so we know where it's coming from. And supports will be, well, give me a sec to find it. I'm back. I didn't make the file beforehand. The only thing is a bit iffy, that's for sure. But yeah, so we won't be doing racial traits. We have a thing in Aurora Builder called conditions. Now conditions are really strange just because they don't appear on the sheet normally, where you think it would be, depending on how you get it. But Yeah, we're gonna select condition. The reason why we know this is because if I type up here, I go to underscore resistance cold, we see a bunch of different things here that allows us to select. Well, yeah, now I'll just code the purple flame subrace. All right, and with that, we are finished. So yeah, last thing we do before we test the file out, I am going to take this. That's odd. Why is it doing that? Oh, whatever. Okay. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna place everything that doesn't have a popular source. So copy this. Take the source. We should have a bunch of these. Hit Control H. 16 of them. Paste. Control Enter. And now everything is filled in with the proper source. So cool. Everything's in. Time to test things out. So as we normally do, we're gonna take this. We're gonna copy. I'm gonna go to our user folder. That's under here. So if you have this open, it should be in your workspace, custom folder, all the way down, user, right click and hit paste. Cool. Kind of full copy. Oh, I see. I think I tried making this before. What is this? Oh, I guess I already had the file in there. Very odd, very odd. Is that correct? I guess so. Either way, I don't trust this one. So delete this, rename this, and just call done. All right, cool. Now we open up Aurora Builder. So I'll be back and when we can see it. And we're back. So I have my candle folk here. Click on it. Everything looks correct. GUI state, weakness to water. Perfect. Click on that. Standard index 0. Oh, so that's probably with the braces. That's unfortunate. Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. Ignoring that, we're gonna have our races here, so things look correct. As we can see. Cool. I know all these work. We'll choose white flame because it has this ability that we can check in the sheet. So white flame, click on that. Oh, and it crashed. So typically, when something like that is incorrect, we need to find a way to fix it. So if languages is incorrect, let's find out why that is. One way we can do this, we would look up this, Control Shift F, standard. How is it done normally? 2 double lines. Okay. So instead of just 1, we do 2. And that should fix our issue. Let's check Canonical again. Double click. No error this time because things are fixed now. No, white flame. Double click this. And it works just fine. Right? So let's go to ability score modifiers. We get a +2, and now we can choose whatever you want. So I want to choose. Oh, this is incorrect. Oh, I see. I didn't take it off from the other race. So if I go back here, I forgot to remove this entirely from the race itself. But that's fine. We'll just reload it. But I'll still check the file otherwise. I know that it works just fine. So strength, boom, done. We know it's good. Dang, that's crazy. Anyways, languages. We already get common. We get to pick 3. So Astron, deep speech, and abyssal. And those are the 3 proficiencies. We got it. Feats, nothing else. Now this is where we test the true magic. So nothing is in here because it's all like class stuff, but it's all in here. Natural light, action. Now the main thing we're looking at here is our saved from death. Well, today you can use a proficiency check for 1d6 plus 2 of your own hit points instead of 1d20. Now it should be Let me check once more, because I always forget sometimes in the moments. White flame. Yes, constitution modifier. So our con modifier is +2. So it translates over here as 1d6 +2 of your own hit points instead of a 1d20 from the skill check. Yeah, so yeah, everything was good. The other race that a sub race that had a similar thing was blue flame. Yeah, so that should be the same. That should be fine. No, the real question is yellow flame because of the resistance. Or yeah. Okay. You choose resistance of elemental type. You cannot choose resistance to cold as you are weak to it or anything water related. Alright, so since and the reason why it probably doesn't work is because there's no tab in Aurora Builder for conditions. It's unfortunate, but it's kind of how we have to roll with. So to go around this, which I don't like doing, is creating racial traits that is for resistances specific to your race. So I'm gonna do that. Resistance and supports. I'm gonna call it durable wax resistance. So all you gotta do is go under this one and just make another elemental element name. I want to start with the first one, which is acid resistance. Type is racial trait. Support, oh no, source, whatever, ID, D&D wiki, subrace, candlefolk, yellow. We're gonna call it, yeah, just so it's easier. Yellow flame. You won't really see this in the code. Durable. I don't like this a lot. I really don't like doing this a lot. Resistance, acid. One second. Actually, never mind. Yeah, we have to do this anyways. I don't think I have any other code I can reference to draw from, so I just have to do it manually. We really should get something like this fixed in the legacy repository, but that's what we have to deal with right now. So it'll be like you have resistance to acid, and then the sheets will be the same thing. Description: you have resistance to acid. In this case, we have to grant any conditions. This is just all on sheet, so we can see it under Candle Eater. That's what we want right now. So basically, you're gonna do the same thing continually. Don't forget to add supports for the durable wax resistance, like so. Resistance, I want to call it durable wax, so we know where it's from. Racial traits. So yeah, I'm gonna do that for all of the resistances. Yeah, so that's pretty much all it is. Looking at the description, you pick an elemental type, so it's not every resistance, so it's not too bad. From what I can tell, it's just acid, lightning, fire, necrotic, and radiant don't really count because they're not really elements. Maybe in your game they are. You can add them if you want. But for me, just these three will serve as a good example. So now we just gotta place a source, save it, and then reload Aurora Builder. We're gonna look at Candlefolk, and now Yellow Flame. Perfect. So now we can see we have our resistances: acid, fire, lightning, and of course no cold because we are not able to add Candlefolk. So let's pick fire resistance. Makes sense. We are a Candlefolk. We're gonna generate our sheets. Now everything should be working perfectly, even our changes. So wisdom gets a +2. If we go back to our ability scores, we can choose which one we want to go into. So strength, and now we regenerate the sheet again. Now we can see the differences. So 11, 12, and our wisdom, weakness to water, candle eater, and then fire resistance. You resist to fire. Typically, like conditions, if you get it from an item or something, it'd be up here. However, we aren't going to be using that. So fire resistance, done. All right, so going back with our code, we made another race. We changed all of this up, copying from the Kazirati race. We looked and changed all these values, and we added this line specifically, adding a select option to select a subrace. And then creating subraces with type equals subrace with the following supports. So the supports matter, looking back at supports equals candlefolk subrace. Pretty important stuff. And then of course testing each file. Another thing that we learned together is that with White Flame, you can change the sheet description value of of your concentration modifier. You can have represented on your sheets easily for you to reference for some abilities. And the last thing we learned about are resistances. It can either be, as we said before, it can either appear on your sheet up here, or if you want to display like you have actual fire resistance, that you can have to create individual files like so. So yeah, that's how we made a subrace. So thanks for watching. In the next episode, we'll be covering how to make archetypes or subclasses in this case. And that video will be another two-parter. We'll be covering how to make a martial, so barbarian, fighter, like probably those two, and then how to make a spellcasting archetype. And of course, all of them will differ in capabilities and things you can add and do, but we'll talk more about that next time. So I'll see you. We make a martial archetype for the fighter class.